what's up guys, it's Cypher, and today we need to talk about Fortnite. If you guys don't remember, over a year ago we uploaded a video called We Need to Talk About Fortnite, and we were talking about a lot of the issues that Fortnite was having back in 2020 of April. There was a lot of problems with the game and the community was kind of in a really tough spot. So I made a video talking about some of the issues, and Epic actually ended up responding to that video and getting a lot of feedback from me and other people in the community regarding the game. Overall, it was a pretty big win in terms of opening up communications with Epic Games. So I decided today I'm going to revisit that video, revisit some of the issues that Fortnite has been having, talk about what good has happened since then, and talk about some of the things that are still bad and need to be worked on. The first thing is we're going to start with the positive, all right? One of the major improvements that we've seen since then is the seasons have been shorter. When I say shorter, I mean they've been normal length. A big problem that we had early in Chapter 2 was Chapter 2 Season 1 and 2, and even partly 3 were really long seasons. Personally, I saw a lot of my friends stop playing around this time, so it was a very crucial thing that the pacing of the seasons went back to normal and we got our normal content. Something Epic has improved upon tremendously since then has been shorter, more consistent seasons, keeping people interested and excited, especially as we approach the summer. All right, now we're going to get into the first bad thing. The pacing of the game is still problematic in my opinion, especially in pubs, but even in arena, a lot of people just W key and there's not a lot of action throughout the match. One thing that they recently did with the mothership, taking like those 40 players into the mothership, has helped a little bit with keeping players alive. I've seen some somewhat stacked pub games where there's like 15 or 10 people as we approach the third and fourth circle. People always say that there should be some sort of gulag system. I think Fortnite can be creative and create its own system to keep players in the match. There's a lot of ways to go about it. I've talked about this too much, but I don't want to take too much time. This is just one of the first things that I think still has not yet been addressed by Fortnite. All right, now back to a good positive note. Fortnite has implemented a ton of fun Fortnite-like updates and items. I think something that we were lacking is a little bit of the magic of the earlier seasons in terms of fun quality updates. We've seen things like the UFO, the railgun. Do know that there's even more fun items being added to the game. You know, we talked about it in yesterday's video, the inflatable item. There's a lot of stuff in the files that point towards more fun and meme-worthy items. We're really getting back into kind of quality Fortnite updates that are around having a good time and not necessarily always just sweating. Items like the Boogie Bomb and the Impulse Nade and the Shockwave Nade, these are like classic items that paint the picture for the early fun seasons of Fortnite. And we're kind of getting a little bit more of those items being introduced slowly throughout the seasons, especially recently. All right, going back to a negative, there is still a ton of lag in tournaments, especially last season. A lot of the FNCS last season and the Cash Cups were riddled with lag, especially the early game lag, which I think is the most frustrating thing. I will say that this season in particular, Arena has felt a little bit less laggier, and I've seen improvement in the early engagements and early fights. I did play a tournament recently for the Thanos skin, and it didn't feel too laggy. It actually felt like the servers were a little bit improved, but I don't know if this holds true for the super stacked tournaments that are yet to come. All right, let's go back to a good thing. This one is good for some people. It could be bad for others if you're not interested. The collaborations that Fortnite has done in the past year have been insane and honestly astronomical compared to the amount of collaborations they've done previous to that video. The collaborations have skyrocketed. We're seeing more Marvel collaborations, DC, all kinds of different games. Master Chief has come into the game. To some people, this is very exciting to see that Fortnite is kind of branching out and even bringing in more different universes together. Others who are not as interested in the collaborations feel like Fortnite is straying away from its original characters. I think there's definitely a healthy mix of collaborations and original Fortnite content that needs to be reached. Too many collaborations kind of takes away from Fortnite as an IP and detracts from the story and some of the original characters that we actually have, you know, strong attachments to, especially if you're not interested in the collaborations that are happening. Like if you don't care about Master Chief or Star Wars or DC or Marvel, the collaborations are not as exciting. I do think that just recently, you know, Fortnite did do a lot of collaborations for a couple seasons, and now we're kind of going back to a little bit more standard collaboration pace where it's not as shoving down your throat. Okay, here's a collab, here's Superman, here's Batman, here's this, here's that. But I personally am a fan of a lot of these collaborations, so I'm going to put this in the good positive category. All right, this one is kind of important, and this is a bad thing, is that the map changes have not been that great. I will say this, there's been minimal map changes all in all. Like, we're not seeing, impressive biomes being introduced like we did with, the sand area on the bottom right of the old map, or the Frosty Flights area, bottom left of the old map. We've seen some biomes be introduced, but they feel kind of dry and are not as impressive. The map honestly has not changed too much in this chapter. But one thing to point out is that when we did get huge changes to the map, like when we got the primal POIs, they were not well received. I feel like the primal POIs were very poorly made. They didn't fit the building grid. And a lot of times I noticed that people were not even landing at these areas, and they were opting to land on the outskirts of the map. So I do think that there could be improvements on the map changes on this current map as well. I do think we're stuck on this map until the next chapter of Fortnite, chapter 3. So we've still got probably another year on this map. So hopefully we can actually see some improvement to some of the map changes and feedback, especially given during the primal season, onto future map changes that are yet to come. All right, here's another positive. Consistent updates, especially like the old days. We used to get a new update every other week with a new weapon, a new item. And Fortnite has kind of gone back to that in the last couple seasons where, every other week we've been getting something new added to the game, whether it's something unvaulted or a completely brand new item. And especially this season so far has really felt like an OG Fortnite season, with the first update of the season being absolutely ginormous, the UFOs flying over, and then the abduction minigame. That is a huge update. Probably in the top 5 updates of all time in terms of the amount of content it actually brings. So they're off to a really good start this season. And they've been very consistent about, keeping things fresh from week to week with new additions to the game. And I do think we actually are getting a new item in this mini update on Tuesday. So the updates have kind of gone back to a good pace, a good OG Fortnite pace. And I'm definitely a fan, and it keeps things exciting and fresh, unlike the earlier seasons of Chapter 2 where we weren't really getting that many updates. If you guys remember, Chapter 2, Season 1, I think the biggest update was the introduction of the harpoon, which was just a very basic item that didn't really do too much to change the impact of the game. Okay, now here's another issue that Fortnite is having right now, and I think this has always been an issue in the past, and the issue is toxicity. But I think right now, more than ever, toxicity in the community is a little bit higher than usual. Something I noticed personally on the Twitch side of things is a lot of the commenters these days are very heavily influenced by some of the younger pro players who are obviously still 14, 15, and don't necessarily always make the smartest, most, mature decisions. And as a result, it kind of feeds into some of the younger viewers who are into the competitive side of Fortnite. And I'm seeing a lot of interdrama between pro players. I'm seeing a lot of, viewers kind of act in a very toxic way. Sometimes I am personally at fault of being toxic or being upset, but I feel like now more than ever, there's a lot of toxicity in the community itself. Of course, there's always going to be a group of good people. And honestly, the group of good in Fortnite still outweigh and outpopulate the toxic people. But it seems like these days, the toxic people do feel a lot louder than usual. I'm going to try to make an effort myself as one of the bigger content creators on Fortnite to try to be a little bit more positive and not be as toxic. The last good thing, and this one is kind of a double-edged sword, is we finally see the separation of casual content and competitive. Fortnite has made an effort into keeping casual items and non-competitive items out of arena and tournaments. This has created a more balanced competitive scene where you don't have these crazy over-the-top items influencing the outcome of these tournaments. It's definitely been a good change. We are seeing Epic be more open about adding crazy items, knowing that these items won't make it into arena, but can still be used by the casual players to have fun and enjoy the game. One of these items, for example, is the railgun. The railgun and recon scanner would have never really been very competitive and something that you would want in the tournaments because they are very, very powerful, and they would have dictated the way the matches played out tremendously. But they're not there in the tournaments, which is something that in the past, Epic would have definitely not done. Epic wanted to keep consistency between what's in arena and tournaments and what's in the casual game. And it was kind of a hard challenge for them to even do, almost impossible, but they wanted to try to do it. And now they finally understand that it is very hard to keep fun items in both arena and competitive without ruining the competitive integrity. And then if you just take all of that out, you have a Chapter 2 Season 1 situation where there are no fun items, and the most interesting item is the harpoon gun. All right, and then the last negative thing that has yet to happen or be fixed in Fortnite, and this part is probably the worst one, is we still don't have a SypherPK icon skin. No, I'm kidding. I actually did not have 5 bad things to put. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys next time.